What's up, guys? It's your girl, Kara Corey here, registered dietitian, back for another dietitian talk, and I know you guys are gonna really like this one. I was really excited when I got one of my newest Today's Dietitian magazines. I subscribe to those. I'm gonna use those more often to give me some creative juices for ideas of things to share with you guys. But they had a really great article in there, kind of summarizing and talking about weight regain and really what are the lifestyle changes that really work for you to keep off the weight. So I'm going to go through with you guys some of what I got from this article, and it was really good for me as a dietitian to kind of go through it and think about what I do with my clients, what advice I give to you guys, and how it kind of stacks up against what's really proven among the research for what truly helps folks keep weight off. If you guys are interested in this topic, if you guys enjoy my channel, if you guys like spooky things, then be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, or make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is weird and sometimes just unsubscribes you, and also hit that post notification bell. That way you guys don't forget about me over here and you are notified each and every time that I upload. Trader Joe's sparkling beverages are super good. Now, before we jump right into those lifestyle habits that really work, I want to mention the fact that there just is not enough of an emphasis on actually maintaining weight loss. There's this huge focus on losing weight. You need to lose weight. Here's what you do to lose weight to get the results. But not enough people are talking about, well, what actually do you do when you get there? What do you do when you've reached that point of weight loss and being able to maintain it? This is something that I'm just going to throw the medical field out there and say, y'all are doing a bad job at this. I don't think dietitians are doing a bad job at it. I think doctors are doing a disservice to a majority of everyone. When you come into their office, they look at a number on the scale and they just say, you really would benefit from losing some weight. And that's all the advice they give to you. Not helpful, number one. Number two, it's way easier to lose weight than actually keep it off. And no one's going to argue me differently on this point. For any of you watching this channel that have gone through a diet or a period of time that you've lost weight, have you been able to maintain it or not? It's something that we know is very challenging. It's more challenging than actually losing the weight. So for those of you guys that are watching this channel that are health coaches, dietitians, fitness professionals, what have you, whatever conversations you're having with your clients cannot just focus on losing weight. You need to be focused on, so if you are going to lose weight, how are we going to actually sustain it? And if you're not going to be able to sustain it, then what are we doing? So the conversation needs to shift. What we're doing with our clients needs to shift to the sustainability portion of this. Otherwise, if you can't do these things to sustain weight loss, then don't enter a weight loss period. I hate that I just did air quotes, but I did it. It's done. I can't undo it. Actually, maybe in post-production, but it happened. So I do have some notes here to refer to, but where I'm giving you guys these examples from have been taken after looking at several clinical studies that have been done, some of which include studies that have been done since 1944 with the National Weight Control Registry. The National Weight Control Registry. So that's been a group of people they've looked at for a number of years and been able to get data from them to say, you've lost weight and you've maintained it for this long. What have you been doing? I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritties of each of the studies looked at. I can share references with you guys if you want to kind of dive into it a little bit more on your own. Other studies include the Diabetes Prevention Program and Diabetes Prevention Outcome Study. They looked at the Pounds Lost Program study, the Look Ahead study, and the Direct UK. So these are all different programs with different groups in them, different groups of people, different means of losing weight that these folks took, and they studied them for a number of years and looked at multiple different factors. Super general summary, but just kind of giving you the nitty-gritty where these lifestyle changes came from. This is from folks of all of these different studies who have maintained their weight over several number of years. In a nutshell, how'd I get in this nutshell with this big nut? I'm in a nutshell. How'd I get in this nutshell with this big nut? So the most important takeaways for you guys, for consumers to know in terms of sustaining your weight loss efforts, or for clinicians to know with assisting your clientele. Number one, no shocker here from me, is an individualized approach, believe it or not. We are not cookie cutter here. That is not sustainable. Why people keep doing this is beyond me. Oh, probably because it gets you results. Gets you results, gets you your sexy before and after photos that helps you sell more programs. You know who I'm talking about. No one in particular, a number of people. This is $1 billion industry here. So what actually worked for people was an individualized program. In a couple of the study groups, they gave folks some structure, okay? Some structure needed to be there. They gave them a set amount of calories to follow. They gave them some macronutrient guidelines. Things like fat they found were important. So they had the structure, but they were given the flexibility to make their own choices. They built their own meals. They made their own choices on a daily basis. No one handed these people a set cookie cutter meal plan that they had to follow every day for the rest of their life. The onus is up to you. In order to sustain your weight loss, you need to know how to make healthy changes. These programs provided that specific structure through their calorie goals, fat gram goals, things like that, but allowed people to have that flexibility. I think I've seen it time and time again where you give someone a meal plan, they adhere to it for a set amount of time, but who can do that for the rest of their lives? No one. No one can. No one is going to eat the same exact food day in and day out for eternity. It's not going to work. The likelihood of it working is slim to none for people to be able to sustain that. So, some structure here, but having that flexibility for you to take ownership of your choices. And part of that is learning how to make good choices, better choices, and, be able to be flexible with your choices too. So with examples like that, your clients need to learn how to navigate that. And by you just handing them a meal plan, that's not going to work for life. You can help your clients by navigating those food scenarios and how to make better changes that align with their goals. So the second thing that we found out with keeping weight off and preventing the regain is understanding that actual physiological changes do occur with weight loss. So we need to also understand that going into a program where someone's trying to lose weight. Those physiological changes can occur hormonally as you lose weight, and depending on the amount of weight you lose too, it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. But for the most part, as you lose weight, say you lose 10% of your total body weight, there's some hormonal changes that can occur. Things like ghrelin can go up, leptin can go down, and your appetite can even go up a little bit as you lose weight. And as you're losing weight, you are less metabolic potentially, your metabolism may come down a bit, and you may not need as many calories as you lose weight, depending on your body composition, if you will. You could maybe not need 300 to 400 as many calories per day as you once did. So for us as professionals working with you, and for you to understand that as you lose weight, your body is going to change, hormones are going to change, things are going to adapt, and we need to be prepared to help you adapt to those changes in terms of preventing weight regain. The next strategy is helping consumers make food choices that consistently work for them. And while that's a very general statement, what does that mean? So from the studies that they looked at, interestingly enough, one of the things that they did found with all these individuals who are able to maintain weight loss, they all ate breakfast. So they didn't necessarily tease out the reason of that. Was it due to the nutritive value of breakfast? Was it due to the psychological, the physiological aspect of it? They weren't sure, but that was just one common denominator that was seen there, was that all these folks generally ate breakfast. They weren't intermittent fasters. They didn't do any kind of like special other diet tricks there. It was just in general, they did start their day and they ate some breakfast. Now, the other thing they saw there too, in terms of making consistent food choices that work well for you, is keeping it simple. So most of these folks keep it pretty simple. I'm not saying you're not a baker or a cooker or make crazy recipes. That's not what I mean. These individuals were found to do things like kind of having a staple 2 to 3 like palate pleasing go-to meals. It was funny to read that because I know I do that. I know Jason does that as well. And it is something that works very well for us, I feel like, with maintaining our weight. But kind of having those go-to meals that aren't just meals you have to eat. They're palate pleasing. They're meals you enjoy eating, but they're your staple meals and they're simple. They're your go-tos, you know? It's kind of just like, you got your go-to TV shows that you know you can count on. You can sit on the couch, you can watch them, and you can just zone out, and life is good, man. That's me watching Friends till the day I die. It's good stuff. I know it. It's going to do what I need it to do for me. The same is true with your food and your weight loss efforts. You need to identify what those meals kind of look like for you and have them on standby. Have 2 to 3 options that you like for breakfast and you like for lunch that you rotate through. I'm not saying you have to eat the same food every single day, don't get me wrong, but it's knowing that you have kind of this arsenal, if you will, of good healthy meals that you can go to when you need them to. So being prepared and kind of developing your own arsenal for your weight loss efforts to be able to sustain them, that's where it becomes more than just a fad diet. That's where it's more than just restricting a bunch of food groups. You can only do that for so long, okay? So you really need to kind of learn what you love and what you like and what makes you feel good and kind of pay more attention to that. So while you're in your weight loss efforts, it's not just about going through the motions and did you lose weight this week or did you come down a size in your jeans. It's developing what meals made you feel good, what really satisfied you, what were some healthy options that they're really growing on you. You think you could eat that meal all the time. Those are the things you need to pay attention to that will help make that maintenance period much easier. The next strategy is really, really crucial, and that is really being able to master and implement a positive psychological mindset about your weight loss, about your food choices, and also be able to implement behavioral changes. So that's kind of a two-parter and a big one here. One of the number one things I know I've seen with some of my lifestyle clients, and not even just my clients, with people I talk to on a day-to-day basis, because the second people know you're a dietitian, they tell you their life story when it comes to their issues with their weight. And one of the things is that mindset. The mindset is huge. This is kind of what you see kind of sneak into a lot of my Instagram posts, that it's really it's kind of my passion, if you will, is the mindset piece to this, because I spent a number of years being very, very negative towards myself, my outlook on my body, my food choices. It was all skewed. And really, that is a really critical piece that needs to shift and needs to be looked at. The behavioral strategies working with that kind of all need to happen first. This is the meat and potatoes here that have to get worked on before you worry about how many pounds you lost on the scale or even being able to maintain them. This stuff has to get worked on. So really thinking about what your why is. Is your why you just want to look cute in a bathing suit for your trip to Mexico? Okay, that's fine. That's a goal. Are you going to be able to sustain that? No, because guess what? Once you get to Mexico, the drinks are unlimited. You're on an all-inclusive resort, and your goal has been achieved. You're there. You don't care anymore. Your why has poofed. You can't let your why poof, you guys. You have to keep your why present. So the why always needs to be important. If the why is for you to just obtain a certain body for a certain event, then I say throw that whole goal out. You're not going to be able to sustain it, and all you're doing is feeding into the yo-yo dieting that is very, very harmful to your mental and physical health. So really thinking about what your why is and keeping that close. The why can't just be I want to lose weight, because once you lose the weight, then what? How do you maintain it? So you really need to develop and think about why this is important to you. Write it out. Talk about it with your loved ones. Really think about, why is this important to you to maintain weight? If you've lost weight, why is it important to continue to maintain it? Because at the end of the day, if it's not important to you, if you don't know what that answer is, you're not going to maintain it. It's that simple. If there's no purpose behind it, if your why isn't there, it's not going to happen, guys. It's quite simply not. So that's why it's really important, even before you start a weight loss program, what's the reason behind it? Really dive into that. Because if the reasons aren't right and they're not going to be sustainable, I urge you not even to try to do it, honestly. This one's maybe a no-brainer, but I don't know if it is or not. One of the other strategies found was really solidifying and implementing a consistent physical activity program, if you will. So it's not just about the diet. It's not just about your nutrition. It's so much more than that. But the physical activity has actually been seen as the most critical factor in folks being able to maintain their weight loss. So obviously, part of a weight loss program for many people, not always, is going to be implementing physical activity. But thinking about that longer term, sustainable, really finding a program that works for you, that you enjoy, with adding in that activity and actually increasing it when you're in a maintenance phase, all that's going to do is optimize your metabolism. As mentioned earlier, we need to be cognizant of those hormonal adaptations that are going to occur as you lose weight. So one way to combat that is with increasing your physical activity, and a combination of cardiovascular and weightlifting can really help optimize your metabolism, build strength, kind of boost your metabolism, build lean mass is really going to be critical for you guys to maintain weight loss. And what I always focus on with people is you have to find what you enjoy. And you may enjoy something right now for the next 6 months, and then you may get bored of it. So you always have to be willing to be flexible and adapt. Just because Zumba classes are what helped you lose the weight, it doesn't mean Zumba classes are the way for maintaining your weight for life. Be flexible with yourself. Be willing to kind of change and adapt and try new things. I think if 2020 has taught us anything, we have to be flexible and adapt, especially when it comes to physical activity. Most of us were out of the gym for a long period of time, and we had to learn how to still adapt to that. So be flexible with it. Be willing to always kind of reassess what you're enjoying, what you're doing, what other options are out there, and keep that as a primary part of your plan as well. And just my general thing is, I notice for me, going to the gym and working out, it's not about changing my body necessarily, right? I mean, that can come along with it. That can be part of the goal, the appeal. But when I go to the gym, there's something about it that just really, with those endorphins and how it makes me feel, it's really a huge boost for me as a person. I don't go in like, I'm going to do this so I can get skinny today and lose weight. No, it's like a whole full body experience where I just feel like I am just changing and I feel better and I feel like my best version of Kara. It gives me a more positive outlook. And in terms of eating choices, I feel like I eat better when I've worked out. I don't know about you guys, but there's something about it that it provides me a sense of clarity with how I feel and how I want to continue to feel. And so it's just one of those other added benefits that is and I'm not saying you have to go to a gym. You can be physically active in a number of different ways. For me, the gym atmosphere is it's it for me though. The next strategy found to help folks maintain their weight was being able to build new skills. So, almost doing like a food skills inventory, if you will, really looking at your ability to properly read labels, to be able to navigate a grocery store and go in there and not get the overwhelm, and understand how to properly shop, to think about how to plan meals appropriately, and to cook. These are all really critical parts of your weight loss efforts and your journey. And so that's something that should be looked at, needs to be looked at. So folks who really kind of honed in on these skills and really kind of enhance their skills just helps assist you with living a more healthy lifestyle. It just makes things easier. If things are easier, you're able to adhere to it better. So these are things to think about. And it's kind of almost like going back to basics. with reading labels. I think there's so much misinformation out there, or just so much information, we get overwhelmed and we don't even know what to do. So really enhancing and building upon your lifestyle skills versus willpower. It's more than just willpower to say no to things. It's what skills do you have to go into a grocery store and make those choices, and to know how to read a label, and to know how to plan and prepare your meals. Those are all skills, and not everyone has them, and sometimes we take them for granted, our ability to be able to cook. So thinking about those skills, enhancing them, that's what's going to help you long term. The last strategy that they found and mentioned was also creating a relapse plan. I know that kind of sounds really like negative and scary, but look, let's think realistically. The reality of having a relapse and you've lost, say, 50 pounds, the reality of you at some point in your life regaining some of that weight, it's a high probability, right? I mean, 2020 has been quite a year. You don't know what life is going to throw your way. Life happens. So for those folks that were able to sustain their weight, they kind of had a plan in place so that if they kind of started to get to a certain spot, they had a plan for what works best for them to get back on track. Yes, this is all very general, because going back to my number one tip, this is all individualized based on you as a person and what works for you. But just kind of that overall having a plan in place for being able to get back on track with things. And with that being said too, they did find within the studies that folks did kind of frequently monitor their weight. These are individuals who throughout the scale kind of mentality. These are folks who, yes, they needed to check in with a scale. So being able to maintain your weight does mean probably being able to check in with yourself on a scale, maybe a tape measure, how your jeans fit. Those are all good measures, but these are folks who did frequently kind of self-assess their weight on the scale to be able to check in, where it wasn't 7 months later and they're like, oh crap, I gained 20 pounds, and just kind of out of sight, out of mind. That is a benefit of stepping on the scale and kind of having that onus of, this is where I'm at right now. And while it's just a number and not a full reflection, it does tell a piece of the story. So having some type of plan in place so that you're able to kind of navigate and get yourself kind of back on track. You don't get too far off track. So that's just a very general summary of what was found to help folks keep weight off and not gain weight back. Remember, losing weight, it's just part of your story. Being able to get there, that's actually not the hard part. So I need you guys to really understand that and think about some of these strategies that I threw out there, and kind of where you can maybe think about these for your own life, and where you can maybe improve or maybe kind of implement them into what you're currently doing. Obviously, working with someone can help you too, give you that accountability to kind of check in with you. Working with a dietitian to kind of help support you through this process can also help you with maintaining your efforts and what you've done. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you did enjoy the video and found something beneficial from these strategies. If you did, comment below what hit home the most, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.